Hey, it's Dr. Lisa. Hey, everyone. I have not been live in such a long time. Thought I would go live because I'm waiting in the car. This is something that I do every day. So, today I want to talk about the number one skill about being an effective leader. And it's something that we're witnessing and have been witnessing for a long time, of showing how we are lacking effective leadership in our lives, in the world that we live in, and it's just truly, truly sad. But the number one skill of being an effective leader is to create a stress-free environment, to reduce stress. That is the number one skill. If you are able to reduce stress, you are contributing to the positive well-being of everybody. You're helping to allow people to feel more motivated and confident because they're not stressed out. They're not knowing what the fuck is going on. They're not feeling confused. They're not feeling like, what is happening? Or they're not living in a contradictory world. If you look around, everything is a contradiction, from politics to corporate policy to just our daily lives and environments that we're in, like our kids. I'm waiting for my daughter right now outside the school. Like, it's just such a contradiction of the world that we live in. You see leaders stepping up and complaining and saying they're going to stop something and put it into something, or they don't agree with something, or they feel something is not just only for the person that they're mad at, or the individual that holds the true power to come to them, and then they get in their face and they cower and they don't stand 10 toes down, and they're not true to themselves and their beliefs, but they become true to the dollar, true to what power they can possess if they're on the right side of the individual that they need to please. That is stressful. That means they're not walking in their true self, and they're living in this stress of, if I don't say the right things, then I'm not going to be able to get funding for this, or I'm not going to get these policies passed, or I'm not going to get any of this done. And you are not an effective leader because you're operating in stress. If it doesn't happen, it just doesn't happen. You can't force things to happen by you not living in your true self, and by you not being real about what it is needed within the position that you hold. Power should not sway how you operate. That's not leadership. That's just a ball of chaos. And we know what that looks like. We're living in that every day in society right now, because there's no true leadership in many aspects of the world we live in. It's just chaos. It's just stress. And that is not leadership. That is just wielding of thoughts because they've appeared in your mind and you think that they're correct and not based on fact. And that is chaotic. It is reckless, and it is dangerous, no matter where you are, in what space. And so when I say that stress is the number one key to being an effective leader, being stress-free, reducing stress, helping others to do things and to operate within a stress-free manner, that's the key to innovation. That's the key to motivation. That's the key to confidence in them being able to effectively do what they need to do. So if you're not able to do that as a leader and allow people to truly stand up and operate in their true self and with confidence, then what are you doing? All the chaos that we have going on in the world is just ridiculous. And it's all because people wield and operate through power and operate through fear, and creating chaos and creating stress, and then trying to knock other people off their square to get them to do what they want them to do. That's not leadership. That is not leadership. Leadership is when you're able to listen and understand, and being able to recognize the needs of others. That's true leadership, because you're not operating off of self. You're operating off the motivation of bringing good to others. And that is what is lacking. And you're probably wondering what triggered me with this thought process. I mean, just looking at everything that's going on within not only corporate side of things, but also in hi, how are you? But also in politics. I'm in the DMV area, I'm in the DC area, so it's a lot of that. I see a lot of the fakeness where people will show up and tell you what they want you to hear so that they can get your vote, or for you to allow them to sponsor some type of program or whatever, or lobbying for whatever idea or whatever someone's trying to push. And so I see a lot of contradictions. Humans are so contradictory. And that's the part of why people are always stressed in society. America is one of the most stressed out countries in the world, and it shouldn't be. We should be living in a lap of luxury. Don't they say America is the greatest? But we stressed out. We stressed out because we're worried about, where is our next paycheck coming from? I mean, people have been getting fired left and right. Like, it's crazy out here. People have been getting fired left and right. Once was thought of as a secure job, working for the federal government is no longer. The downsizing of these corporations, which has been happening for years, and people don't speak on it. We're operating in a world of stress, but we pretend as though it is not a stressful time. But it is. It really is. It's a time of just unknowing. And when we look to our leaders, they're contradictory. They talking that BS. They ain't making no sense. Yeah. I don't agree with no DEI being gone. I don't agree with that, honey. I don't agree with that. It is not. What are you even talking? Who is this? Don't let me say I know you. What you talking about? You're not even making no sense. You the reason why we dealing with all of this. I'm not DEI. Don't let me find out you a veteran. Because if you're a veteran, you're DEI. If you live in a rural area, you're DEI. If you're making less than 200 grand a year, you're DEI, baby. And if you don't have a degree and you got a trade job, you are DEI. Because people that got trade jobs, they're viewed as less skilled. So if you're viewed as less skilled, but you are probably making more than the people that are skilled, but you're still viewed as DEI because you don't have a degree, let that sink in. Don't come in the comments trying to tell me about DEI and you don't know what it means, baby. That means you're uneducated. I don't have time to educate you right now, so keep talking. Let that algorithm do it, babe. Let it do it. Thanks for coming in. I appreciate you. It doesn't hurt my feelings for somebody to say I'm DEI. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? What? Because I'm a veteran? What? Because I'm a black woman? What? Because I'm over 40 and would be viewed old in some workspaces? What? 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 You gotta really unemployed. Baby, I own a business. You on my page. Check my resume. You on a page and don't even know what you're talking about. You silly. Don't let me figure out who you are. Anyways, as I was saying, that type of mindset, that's why the world is held back. People like to talk about other people. You want to come in comments and talk about, but you don't want to talk about what's really going on in society, what's really holding you back, what's making you so mad that you got to come in my comments and you don't know who I am and you got to talk about me. You got to talk about me, someone you don't know. That's the society that we're living in. Ignorance. Ignorance has hindered the brain, created stress, and allowed people to fight amongst us instead of fighting amongst those that are in power, those that are hindering other people from being successful, creating laws to hold back others. Stress creates chaos, as I was saying. Stress creates this ball of chaos, which allows us, the lower level, as they don't hold the power to fight amongst ourselves, right? Instead of being able to get up and stand up and make a change. Oh, well, I don't like you because you're a Republican. I don't like you because you're a Democrat. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Y'all up here crying in my comments. You don't even know what you're crying about. Oh, you hurt my feelings. Anyways, that's the world that we live in. People that hate on other people. I don't need anybody to listen to me. This is just me talking. Passing time. I don't have to get in nobody's comments and disparage and disgrace. I don't fall victim to chaos. I don't fall victim to ignorance because I'm a true leader. I've created change. I have helped others to succeed in life. I don't have to tear people down because I'm a creator and inspire and one that inspires others, even those that don't like me. It is what it is. It's interesting how people can hate someone that they don't know, but love someone that continues to hold them back. Love someone that abuses them, takes from them. Strange times we're living in. But that's the power of creating stress. When a leader creates stress, they create chaos, and that allows for the infestation of hate. For hate to try to scare others, hate to try to make others fearful, to not stand before and follow in what they believe in. That doesn't work for many, and I'm one of those many. It's very true. It's very true. Very true. It's very true. The world we live in, is those that are filled with ignorance and like to harass others. Who's crying about DEI? Nobody was crying about DEI. See, this just shows how slow y'all are. Back it up and you'll know what's going on. Ridiculous. You come on here and then try to disparage me. That was just strange in itself to even come on here and talk about someone. As I was saying, America. That's America. Good old America. Ridiculous. As I was saying, till I was rudely interrupted. We are lacking a world of true leadership. And those that are truly dedicated to creating a better world, a world that's good for everyone and not for themselves, for a world where people are operating not from self and not from the need for power and not for the need of greed and not for the need of taking from others, literally stealing from others and holding others back, keeping others blind and ignorant to what's going on. Like the person in my comments, more worried about me than what's going on in the world. You more worried about me. There's so much going on out here. It's a lot going on out here. But as I said, some would say, oh, well, that would make an effective leader because they're able to create this plume of chaos so that they can get their agenda across. They can succeed in their actual goal. Yeah, that's true. But it's not rooted in what it means to truly operate from a human aspect. You know, it's more of a self-power and evil aspect. Not at all. It's all about this one goal. This has nothing to do with what anyone looks like. I don't understand why you guys are assuming I'm speaking about what someone looks like. Are y'all assuming that just because I'm black? This has nothing to do with what someone looks like. That's what I'm confused about. This has nothing to do with what someone looks like. This is just someone taking from others. It doesn't matter what someone looks like. It doesn't matter what someone believes. It means that someone is stealing from you. It means that you are treating unfairly within the workplace. It means that someone is taking from you that you trust in leadership, and they're stealing your actual hard-earned dollars. They're stealing your actual opportunities. They're hindering those that truly are qualified for a position to not get it. It has nothing to do with what someone looks like. I don't know why y'all keep assuming that. And obviously that's your assumption because I am a black woman. So you're assuming that because I'm black and I'm speaking on equality and fairness, that it has something to do with just someone being black. It has nothing to do with just someone being black. What are you talking about? That's your ignorance for assuming that. And that's your ignorance for assuming that because me as a black woman, me, I guess, as an American, because you're not from America, that's an assumption. These are assumptions. This is what I'm talking about. The assumption. That's the dangerous part. You can't assume. You cannot make assumptions and then assume that I'm only speaking for one class or one person or one specific situation. It doesn't work that way. This is about everyone, all humans and all aspects of humans. And you would know that if you truly follow me. You're just on my page because you're just on here. You don't know what I'm talking about. It's strange. It's weird. Go. As I was saying, creating chaos. That's a dangerous thing. Just like creating the chaos in the comments. Creating this unnecessary whirlwind of chaos to try to confuse me or make an assumption about me that is not true. When I'm speaking for all. Speaking for all. And how stress is a detriment. Just like how it jumped into the comments and tried to stress me out over something that makes no sense. That's a prime example. That's a prime example. This whole confusion of this live is an example of what I'm saying and how stress is a detriment to your well-being, your creativity, your innovation, and your ability to be successful. Because I ain't even touch on what I was trying to say fully in this live because of the chaos that hopped into the comments. And that's a prime example of how when you want to be an effective leader, you have to be able to manage stressful environments. You have to be able to show up, be clear, and stick to the purpose. And me being able to do that and check people at the same time is a prime example. And it also is a prime example of me being able to stand 10 toes down, as I said, speaking on what I was speaking on earlier, when we look at how leaders will say one thing and then they jump into something else, and it creates a whole bunch of chaos. It creates a whole bunch of stress. It creates a whole bunch of loss, and it creates a whole bunch of detriment. That's the world that we live in. And it needs to stop. And we as people need to hold it accountable. But no, people will rather hop in comments and assume I'm speaking about race and DEI. Guess I'm speaking some facts because they had to lean into something that wasn't relevant, but only was assumed because of the way I look. So that shows your true self, not me. And that shows the world that we live in also. And how, no matter how far we can move away from that conversation, people are going to bring that conversation back and make that assumption. And you don't even know me. You just automatically assumed all these weird assumptions to create chaos. Interesting. The life we live, right? But anyways, I think people like chaos. I think people want the world to be chaotic. We become so accustomed to it and desensitized. That's the sad part about it, so I can talk about it and get winded about it, but it was a big bee. Ooh, it was huge. Oh no, it's a hornet. Ooh, glad my window's up. But who knows? Y'all gonna let me know in the comments anyway. What do you think? You think the world loves chaos? You think the world loves it and feel so, it's so desensitized that it doesn't matter, you know? It's just fight or flight and survival of the fittest, the human, human survival mode, regardless of how far we've gone in society. It's going to always be that way. Will it always be that way? And that's the whole point of the stress and chaos, to keep people confused so that only a few can win. It's possible. I don't know. It's such an interesting conversation and discussion. Let me know. Anyways, I'm about to jump up off of here because I got things to do. But I appreciate y'all for coming and hollering at me, checking in on me. I have no idea who all popped up in here. It was a little chaotic, a little weird, but I love chaos. It doesn't scare me. I love a good chat. Wish we could go toe to toe, face to face. That'd be even better. But until then, love yourself and others.